You think you know ancient Egypt, golden crowns, towering temples, serene statues staring through 3,000 years. But beneath the painted walls of Karnak, behind doors not marked on any map, a 14-year-old princess walks toward a chamber her own father will never see, to play a sacred role that will break her body, rewrite her name, and turn her into a living asset of the most powerful priesthood on earth. Tonight, you're not standing in front of the pyramids. You're walking behind the façade into the corridors where religion becomes a weapon, where a god's bride is less a chosen vessel, and more a carefully contained hostage. The torches gutter as if shrinking from what lies ahead, their flames bending against draughts that whisper of rituals older than dynasties, and Shepenwit princess, wrapped in linen so fine it took half a year to weave, feels as though she is being slowly unwoven with every step she takes. Gold bracelets ring softly on her wrists. The oil in her hair smells of myrrh and frankincense. Every outward sign says she's being prepared for honour, elevation, glory. But the deeper she walks into the temple's hidden corridors, the more the air presses on her chest like a second heartbeat. Heavy, warning, ancient. Behind her, the world of the living grows small. Ahead of her, the stone seems to exhale cold. The elder priestess escorting her speaks with the calm certainty of someone who has delivered many daughters to this fate. Your kingdom depends on your devotion, she murmurs, and the words echo not like reassurance but like a verdict. Shepenwit thinks of her father, Pharaoh Osseron III, sitting only a few walls away in a chamber carved for kings, believing his daughter is in prayer, believing she is being adorned for the dawn ceremony that will declare her God's wife of Amun before the entire nation. He does not know that the real ceremony, the one never carved in hieroglyphs, the one never mentioned in royal archives, begins tonight in a place where no pharaoh has ever been permitted to stand, and she realizes with a quiet horror that her father's ignorance is not naive. It is necessary. He must not know, or he would not sign the treaties that keep the kingdom steady. He must not know, or he would lose the political priesthood that upholds his throne. He must not know, or he would lose her entirely in a different way. So he looks away, and the priests open the door. The chamber is circular, small, intimate in a way that feels wrong for anything called holy. The walls are carved with instructions disguised as prayers. A stone basin sits at the centre, filled with dark liquid whose smell is part incense, part medicine, part unidentifiable dread. 4 high priests stand in the shadows, their faces painted with such heavy ceremonial patterns that they look less like men and more like statues of judgment brought to life. The eldest priestess gestures for Shepenwit to step forward. Purification begins, she says softly. Another word that should promise cleansing, but instead sinks into Shepenwit like a stone. She is told to remove the garment she entered with, and though fear trembles through her fingertips, she obeys, because disobedience will not end the ritual. It will only reshape it into something even more severe. She steps into the basin. The liquid is cold enough to bite. Natron, used to preserve the dead, burns faintly against her skin, and the symbolism is painfully clear. She is a royal daughter being unmade, dissolved, prepared not for death, but for a version of life that erases her former self. The chanting begins. The priests intone ancient verses older than the walls around them, phrases of death and rebirth, surrender and divine harmony, phrases Shepenwit has recited in lessons but never heard wielded like tools. Her hair is shaved with a copper razor. Each fall of a lock feels like a memory being severed. Hair in Egypt is identity, pride, power. Its removal is marking, branding, transformation. The razor glints once against the lamp before disappearing into the rhythm of the ritual, and Shepenwit stands still, rigidly silent, because the first lesson of this night is clear. Those who express fear are disciplined to correct their spirit. Silence is survival. They dress her not in gold, but in plain white linen, the uniform of one who now belongs to the temple, and lead her into a second chamber, brighter, larger, filled with paintings of gods and priests in poses of cosmic authority. But the images feel wrong tonight. They do not depict holiness. They depict hierarchy. They teach obedience. They instruct surrender. High Priest Montuhot steps forward, a man whose power rivals kings, whose hands have guided this ritual for longer than Shepenwit has been alive. His voice is soft, ceremonial, chillingly practiced. You're no longer daughter of Osiris. Tonight, you become vessel of the divine. His words fall like a door closing. He gestures toward a stone platform at the center of the room. Lie down. The consecration must be fulfilled. Shepenwit's breath goes thin. She has been trained for months with veiled lessons about union with the divine, rebirth, sacred joining, phrases designed to sound majestic while hiding what cannot be spoken aloud. And now, standing before the platform, she finally understands what all those metaphors concealed. Her knees weaken, her throat locks. She looks toward the doorway, toward the priestesses, toward the gods painted on the walls. But nothing offers escape. If she refuses, she betrays her kingdom. If she resists, she becomes a threat. If she runs, the narrative will cast her as impure, unworthy, a danger to divine order. Everything has been engineered so that she has only one choice, and even that choice is not hers. She lies down on the cold stone. The torches hiss softly. The priests gather. The ritual that follows is not described in any surviving text. It is the part history silenced, the part archaeologists realized only through implication, architecture, and evidence etched onto bones, centuries after voices were gone. The details do not belong here, they never have. All that matters is this: Shepenwit endures something presented as sacred, something shrouded in holy language, something the priesthood has perfected into a tool of control so refined it does not need violence to break a person. It only needs ritual. When dawn arrives, they paint her face. They dress her in jewels so bright the morning light dances across them. They place a crown of gold on her newly bare head and guide her to her new chamber. A palace within a prison, thousands gather above ground, ready to celebrate her elevation. She walks slowly, carefully, each step a negotiation with her own body, each breath carrying the weight of a night no one will ever acknowledge. And when she enters the main courtyard, when she stands before her father and the crowds, the cheers rise like a tidal wave. They see a goddess. They see serenity. They see the divine. They do not see the shaking in her hands hidden beneath gilded bracelets. They do not see the blankness behind her eyes. They do not see that the girl they knew did not walk out of that chamber with her. Her father speaks, voice proud, strong, full of royal certainty, and Shepenwit realizes with a crushing clarity that he will never know, never ask, never question. The priesthood has built a system too sacred to challenge, too old to dismantle, too politically vital to expose, and she, adorned in gold, becomes both symbol and casualty. She is escorted to her quarters, luxurious rooms designed not for comfort, but for containment. The doors are guarded. The servants are chosen for loyalty to the priesthood, not to her. Every conversation is reported, every gesture monitored, every hint of reluctance translated into additional spiritual correction. And as she sits alone on a bed carved from ebony, the gold around her wrist gleaming in the morning sun, she understands the truth. She has not been chosen. She has been claimed. And above her, in the courtyard where the cheering continues, Egypt celebrates a ceremony it believes is holy, never knowing it has applauded the moment its princess became a living asset of a system built on centuries of silence.